In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. My dear friends, you service members, loving families, and all you who are children of God, watching from anywhere you are, I am Chaplain Onyijiuwa, a Catholic community pastor of Good Shepherd of the United States Army here at Fort Wainwright, Alaska. Welcome to another edition of the Water from the Well devotional. And today, in a special way, we reflect on the declaration of Jesus to his disciples in St. Mark's Gospel, chapter 6, verse 37. Jesus told them, "Give them something to eat yourselves." And the story goes like this. A lot of people gathered to listen to Jesus. But when Jesus saw them, he was moved with pity because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And Jesus had to teach them at length. And so in the evening, the disciples suggested that Jesus should dismiss the crowd to go to nearby villages to buy some food to eat. Probably they had only 200 silver coins, but that would be a joke to feed more than 5,000 people who had been with him for the whole day. Again, they had 5 loaves and 2 fish. It was practically impossible to feed more than 5,000 with the 5 loaves and 2 fish. But when they brought the 5 loaves and 2 fish to Jesus, he raised his eyes to heaven, gave thanks to God, and the 5 loaves and 2 fish were multiplied to feed the more than 5,000 people, that they even had much left over after everybody had eaten to their fill. Jesus' disciples were looking for food solution elsewhere because they felt that they had nothing to feed the people with. But Jesus pushed it back to them, saying, "Give them something yourselves to eat." Jesus wanted them to explore the riches of the mission, the divine providence they were graced with. They needed now to go out in search of what they could feed the people with. They were to start with what they had, and God would build on it to satisfy people's hunger. Thus, we saw it in the miracle of the 5 loaves and 2 fish. My brothers and sisters, you children of God, grace builds on nature. God has equipped us with everything we need. We are rich on account of our spiritual, moral, material, cultural, intellectual, and social endowments for the service of others and for helping with others' needs and cries of those who are challenged in any shape or form in our troubled world. We've got to explore all our endowed riches, but the question is, what are you good at that should be at the service of others in order to upgrade their lives, make their lives, the quality of their lives better? No one should be off the hook in regards to being at the service of others. This is true. We should be at the service of others, you children of God, you and I. God has called us, and be able to contend and solve our problems with the Lord at all times. Again, solving our problems with God at all times. By doing it ourselves with God all the time, providing resources, or even making referrals where necessary. We shouldn't be dismissive of anyone who comes and cries for help, especially in this difficult time. Let us know, or let us borrow a leaf from the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 4, verse 34, that among the early disciples of Jesus, there were no needy persons. It might not just be by selling of property, which was common in their own time, but to be contextualized in our own time in the form of financial donations, counseling, moral exhortation, prayer, corporal works of mercy, improve human relationship, social justice, and respect of the dignity of the human person. We've got to stand on our feet to face the challenges that life poses to our neighbors. But how do we accomplish this task? By spending our lives for all to live. My brothers and sisters, we must be hearing about the 3 R's in the army. We've got to be ready, we've got to be resilient, and we've got to be relevant. This is true. Living our lives, we've got to be ready to help and carry out the salvific mission. We have got to remain resilient by not succumbing to moral defeat or social injustice and indifference. And relevant by not running away from what we are supposed to be. And Jesus makes it clear in St. Matthew's Gospel, chapter 5, verses 13 to 16. He says, "You are the salt of the earth and the light of the world." That's the charge from Jesus. And that's what we're supposed to be. In the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 16, God says, if you are neither cold nor hot, I'll spit you out of my mouth. Things can get ugly very quickly. Greed or avarice can be in the way of service to others. Regrettably, in some countries of the world today, some took advantage of the pandemic and misappropriated the COVID-19 relief funds and aid and other survival resources for the victims. This is unethical, this is unlawful, this is immoral, and this is unconscionable. Be helpful, my dear brothers and sisters, my dear friends, children of God, and sensitive with the spirit of empathy to the cries of the poor and needy, the sick and challenged in our troubled world. Let us pray that the Spirit of God will be with us today to be able to accomplish the tasks that is before us, especially in helping our neighbor, helping our friends, and helping our family members, and help to better a world that is always in crisis. May the Lord bless us by His light and divine providence. May God bless you, Father and Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Enjoy your day and have a great evening. Bye for now.